So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I lost $20,000 in savings, approximately $23,000 in savings in just 3 semesters at university. Now, I just want to put a disclaimer. I'm definitely not a financial advisor. I don't give finance advice. Even though I'm going to be talking about me losing money, I just want to make sure that no one, picks up some of the tendencies that I'm going to list and some tips that I'm going to offer because I don't want to get flagged or whatever. So this is how I fucking lost $20,000 in just 3 semesters at university. Now, some context, I did work a year at Costco, essentially full time before coming back to school. This is when I was failed out of college because of my grades and due to my bad grades. That's because I was a dumbass as a freshman. I partied a lot, didn't do any school, gooned all day, all that stuff. So I would probably say a year and a half, and then I came back to school. Again, I had around $23,000 saved up, and my gosh, do I wish I did something different with my money. You don't realize how quickly you can spend the money you have until you have it, I guess, and you spend it all. And it wasn't like I was trying to make dumb purchases, dumb decisions. Like I wasn't going out buying new guitars or a new PC or a motorcycle or something like that. Think of it as like because I had so much money in my savings at that age, I was around 20 at the time. I just didn't think about my money when I would spend it. That's dangerous because you can really run through money quickly with that thought process. So I come back, I believe it was my sophomore year at the time, or I was finishing off my freshman year and I was feeling, all high and mighty, all, I'm rich. I guess like the first little mistake that I'd be doing is if we went out or went out to eat with my buddies and stuff, I would offer to pay for everybody and then not ask for money back because I was like, I have so much in my savings, you guys do not need to pay me back. And sure, like, yeah, I was a dog then, like, that's a great move to pull, but that's not something that you're able to sustain long term and do every time you hang out. And yeah, it'd only be at places like McDonald's or Zaxby's or something like that, or even going out for drinks. I would offer to buy everybody drinks, or I would buy alcohol for parties and stuff and not make anyone pay me back and such. But that really adds up, especially if you have a friend group where you hang out a lot. That could really add up. So that's the first mistake I made. The second mistake I made was getting a girlfriend. No, I'm just kidding. Not having a girlfriend in itself, I love her to death. We've been together for almost 3 years now. But the mistake I made is, again, I got high and mighty. I kind of wanted to show off a little bit and show her that she didn't really need to worry about finances and whatnot, which wasn't something to be worried about at that time. Even if I was broke, we both have our parents' credit card and stuff. So I was just trying to, look more like a man. And we go out on these fancy dates. I take her out to eat lunch and dinner almost every day, DoorDash a lot of food. And when you do that, when you consistently eat $40 to $50 meals, and they were priced that way, by the way, because again, I eat a lot. I essentially eat 2 entrees every time I eat out. $40 to $50 every day over the course of, 6 to 8 months really adds up. And not to mention all the movies we went out to and watched, all the subscriptions I would pay for. Oh my gosh. Another mistake I made was I wanted to do jujitsu at the time, and I only did it for around 5 months. But I bought membership for a jujitsu gym, and it was on the low end because usually these motherfuckers charge you like $200 to $240 a month. But I got a good deal. I was only paying around $150, $160 a month, but still, I would, at first I went like 4 or 5 days a week because I was hooked. But I found out that it wasn't really my style, that I actually prefer lifting and getting stronger over fighting in general, which I may go back in the future. But so yeah, I did it jujitsu for around 5 months, but the worst part about it is, nearing the end of those 5 months, I only went once or twice a week, sometimes once every other week. I ended up just not going at all. And you're probably thinking this is a smart thing to do is if you're not going to go back anymore, you got to cancel your subscription, right? If you're not a total dumbass like how I was. But no, I was kind of lazy about it because you had to be in person to go cancel it, and not lazy. I didn't want it to be like an awkward interaction saying like, I just lost interest into your guys' gym. Like I don't want to pay for this shit anymore. So that was like a reason, but another was like, yeah, I was lazy. So I kept paying for it and not going. And that went on for around, my gosh, 4 months, 5 months, and that's $150 a month down the drain. And again, that adds up very quickly. So if you're listening to this, please, please, when you do, if you're young and let's say you take a gap year before going back to school or going to college and you do rack up a ton of money saved up, please realize that that can go very, very quickly. Especially, at the time I had probably an abnormal amount in savings. Most of the time when college students save up over the summer or take a year to save up, they have around 5 to 10 grand, and that will fly off your account if you don't manage it properly. Like what I should have done and what I recommend you guys to maybe do, obviously it's your money, you do what you want, but what I should have done and what I'm doing now is throw it in a brokerage like Robinhood, Fidelity, something like that, and have it into some, stable ETFs like VU, anything Vanguard, even AIQ, just something, instead of just wasting it away on DoorDashing, on dinner dates, stuff like that. And, there's always cheaper alternatives to, what I was doing. For example, making people pay me back if I got them drinks or food, finding different ideas to go on dates, like going to the park or going roller skating, which are probably more fun anyways than just buying movie tickets or going to expensive dinners. Learning how to cook at home and, manage groceries properly, budgeting a little bit. I spent a lot on gas money, so trying to pull back on all the driving that I was doing, because mind you, my university is probably an hour away from my house, and I constantly drove from my house to university or from my university to my house. I also had the option to continue working on weekends. So not only did I blow through all my money, I had the option to keep working on the weekends to just keep it at, what I had at the time, so 23,000. So if I just worked on the weekends, I probably would have only lost maybe half the amount I lost or less. So that's another thing. If you have a lot of money saved up, keep working even if you're at school, because you need some source of income if you're going to be spending. So yeah, keep your money in your savings, throw it in a brokerage, learn how to cook your own meals, budget properly, be careful on gas money, all the essential budgeting stuff. What I also was trying to do at the time, which maybe I'll make another video about, was I was attempting to be an online weight loss coach. And the amount of money, my gosh, the amount of money I spent on ads was absolutely absurd. I checked my account the other day and I spent 2 grand on Meta ads to pump out ads on Instagram. And it's not like I wasn't getting any leads or booking any calls or anything. I was actually pretty successful in that. But sales, none. I made no sales. I had no experience. Now, obviously, I did learn from it. I learned how to, maybe develop a sales script, handle objections, all that stuff. But I didn't make any sale whatsoever. So that's just $2,000 down the drain. And that's kind of another tip for you if you kind of want to do like be an entrepreneur or something like that, and you do have money saved up, be expected to kind of dump that money down the drain at the start. I bet you if I would have kept going, I would have probably been successful and maybe break even. But school was, getting to a point where I really had to focus on it, and I had other things to worry about. And, I was going broke, so I had to stop spending. And there was a weird ban on one of my ads, one of my actually successful ads, which kind of drove my motivation down to the ground. But yeah, hopefully, I think this is going to be a quick video. All in all, don't be a dumbass about your money. If you have a lot in savings, go ahead and start to develop some type of budgeting, at least to where you're going to be breaking even every month, because you don't want to lose any money. You don't want to, eventually go broke. That's not the goal here. Looking back now, if I just threw, half of that into a brokerage, just, in VU, it's an ETF that averages around 8 to 12% return rate, I would have had, more money now. And obviously, it's not like I don't have no money in my name. I have a good amount in my 401k from Costco, which I'm very thankful for. And I have around, 5 grand in my Robinhood brokerage. But if I would have just put like 90% of it into Robinhood, like the amount of money to my name now would be substantially more than what it is currently. Especially if I kept working those weekends and I, tried to budget to save every month, I'd probably be able to put $400 to $500 into that account per month just to have it grow even further. Because I'm doing that now, and I'm actually spending more money on gas, and I'm still able to save and stuff because of how I've been budgeting. I wish I was doing this when I had 23 grand in my bank account. But yeah, that's the video. Be smart with your money. If you're young and dumb, at least attempt to budget and keep working so at least you break even every month.